Good afternoon, bonsai friends. Welcome. It's Lee with Lee's Trees. Thank you for joining me. And today I'm going to be working on this Shimpaku Juniper in my Elizabeth Cruttenden pot here. I'll zoom in on it in a little bit when we start working on the tree. And we'll just give it a quick turn. I have this as my front. Of course, that would be the left, or as you're looking at it, the right side, the back, the left side, and back to the front. We're going to do a fall or winter trim on it and a little bit of a repot. This is one of the trees I was having an issue with the black slime mold on the roots, so we'll be working on that some and getting rid of this soil and putting it in some new mix. So we'll get started on that here in just a moment. I'll zoom in a little. Now I've adjusted the camera angle a little, maybe zoomed in, I'm not sure. Hopefully you can see it pretty well. I've actually tried moving the camera stand back a little bit away from my tree and then zooming in a little bit more. Hopefully it'll be a little bit more in focus. But we'll get started with the trim and prune on it, and then we'll do the repotting. Let's see, I'll grab my nice new scissors here. And we'll start down at this bottom branch, and of course anything going straight down, take off. We'll come up to here. Work on some of these branches here. What is... Okay. And if you're thinking that the tree is looking a little brown or a little bit dark, that it is. It has been out, or not recently, but I did have it out in the weather when it did get a little bit colder. So it did get a little chill to it, a very small frost. And I've got a big branch in here that's sort of cluttering up all of this area here. So let's take that out. And I've got that one. I've got this one here that's also cluttering it a bit. So we'll take it off. That definitely opened it up. Now I've got a branch back here. It is coming from the same area as this branch is. Oh, I need to clean that up a little bit better there. I was planning on maybe trying to wire that down flat as well to give me a back branch to give it some more three-dimension. Oh, we got us a little spider trying to nest and hide up in there. Alright, little spider, I'll leave you be. So anyway, I just took those couple branches off here. Let's clean that up a little bit better. Don't need that piece there. I don't need that piece there. Just little shoots coming out. You can see we've got some little, what they call crotch growth right in there that can go. Of course, I could probably give this tree, I need to get me a wire brush and give it a go over. Maybe we'll do that when we do the repotting. So let's get back down to these lower branches. So again, I've just got a few pieces here that are hanging down we can take off. And I do have a small branch back here that I am leaving as basically like a sacrificial branch. I'm not sure if I would want to bring that back to give it some more three-dimension on the bottom branch, or take it off. Let me know in the comments what you think. But for right now, we're going to leave it, like I said, as a little bit of a sacrificial branch. Now let me grab my other cutters. There's a piece right here where there was another branch. Little dead stub will clean up that. It's a big lump and stub there that we'll clean up while we're looking at it for a moment. So I'm just trying to peel some of this old bark off of here while I have my hands on the tree for a moment. Alright, so that's those few branches for right now. In the spring I might put some wire on that and bring it down. I've got this one little branch here. It is a little bit of an eye poker, but again, this tree is somewhat so two-dimensional. That's why I was leaving it to sit there and fill in a little bit of space, but now I'm almost thinking I need to take it off. But if I do, I don't really have very much in the front there. That just leaves me the two sides and the back, or branches. But you will be able to see the whole entire trunk. Okay. I guess I should look on these. I don't see a whole lot that's going straight up. Well, there's a little piece there going straight up. We'll take off maybe a little bit right there. Alright, that branch. Okay. So now, let's get up and take a little better look. I will probably, like I said, I'm going to probably put some wire and bring that back. But that leaves me 3 branches, or 4, coming off the back. I do have this one here that's more coming off to the side. I've got a small one back here I'm going to take off because it's too close to the others. I think. Alright, I paused for a moment to grab a sheet of paper so I can do the Peter Chan paper bag trick. So let's start with this big branch right here. It is somewhat coming out of the inside curve there. And so if I I think that's going to be the smart move, is to take that one off and leave one of those in the back as my back branch for 3 dimensions. So let's do that. And because it is a bit bigger and on the inside, let's use these instead. Let you get a look of it there. Let me took that out. So now I need to choose between these 2. Take some of the crotch growth out there. I'm honestly thinking, when looking at it from the front, this one is too close to there, and if I take it out, use our piece of paper, that puts enough space in between all of those so that it doesn't look too bad. So that's what we're going to do, is we're going to take that one. stuff up there. There's a little old stub there. And now for my apex, which honestly, other than maybe this one little branch coming down there, I've got a nice branch here that can eventually be coming out to the right, and my apex here. I do have two different leaders, and we don't want that, so we're going to leave our main one. And look in here and take it back into there. I did want to leave some of that and to leave a lot of apex right there, leave a nice little bushy spot. But I guess this one is getting a little long, so we could take it back a tiny bit and let that be our new leader there. Of course, it'll probably end up putting 3 or 4 new leaders out in the spring, or next summer we'll pick which one we want and get rid of the other one. Now, for my little piece of deadwood gin right here, I never did intend on leaving it that long. I only did that to let it dry out. There's like a little spot or piece right there that I'm hoping I can get it to break at just that spot to give it a really nice natural. Well, it's still a little soft, so let's see if we... That's because we want it to look rough, like it broke naturally. Let's maybe give this a bit of a try. Trying to rip it a tiny bit, but I don't want to rip half of my piece away there. Looks nice and rough, like it came off somewhat naturally. Doesn't look like it's been cut. It looks like it might have gotten broken off. And of course, being much shorter, being inside the rim of the pot, much better perspective for the tree in general. So let's see, it looks like I have 1 or 2 little pieces growing down here. I'll take off. One growing up there. Oh, gotta be careful. Pinch my finger in the little spot on the scissors there. I gotta watch that. Here's what we've taken off. So see if you can see that there. Let's see, since I adjusted this, looks like I've been on a little bit of an angle there. Sorry about that. So I might have taken, maybe half or a third of the foliage off. Of course, I'll be keeping this in my greenhouse for the rest of the winter. That's good. Great little saw. Unfortunately, that blade is so loose it likes to flop around, so that's why I put me a little rubber band on it, so when I move it, it doesn't pop out on me. I checked a little bit ago, right before I started filming, and I don't have this tied in at the moment. I will be tying it in when we repot it. Put a little nail in there. I heard I think it was Wally or on Natural State Bonsai was talking about putting a nail in there and letting them rust, and it helped improve the color of some of his trees. So I thought I might give it a try. But let's go ahead and take this out. So I'm just going to push up on it a tiny bit there. Alright. I'm going to pause for a moment. We'll be right back to work on that, but I'm going to take a minute and wash my pot out. I am going to reuse this same pot. I love this pot with this tree. It's just that because I was having that issue with the black slime mold on this during the summer, that I'm repotting it and putting it into a different soil mixture. So I'll be right back. Alright, I've got a couple pieces of scrap wire and a couple pieces of screen of mesh here. Go ahead and throw these in. Alright, now we got our pot set up. Let's start working on our tree. Oh, okay, I'm going to have to get a new battery. We'll be back. Alright, we're back. We got us a new battery in the camera here. I'm going to start working on our roots. I will say I am happy with the amount of root growth I'm noticing. And on this tree, when I did this, I did do, ooh, yikes. I did try the window screen technique on this, and as you can see, it's grown through a bit. That's why I'm using the back to using the original drainage screens. Okay, that's not too terribly bad. Alright, so let's get back to working on the tree here. Just smell a little bit off. So let's set that off to the side for a moment. Move our pot out of the way. Interesting how there's a lot of root growth in the front, but not very much in the back. Like I said, I am going to be taking some of these top roots off, or quite a few of them, because that's where the big issue was with the black slime mold. Got this one really big root in the back here, but I don't know that it has a lot attached to it. So let's... Okay, we're back with our juniper here. I'm not sure how much of that recorded. I actually ended up filling up this 32 gig card, which it's supposed to have been empty, but who knows, so I had to put a different new card in here, so I have a 64 gigabyte card now. But anyway, we've been doing a little bit of a root prune on our Shimpaku Juniper after doing a winter trim up on it. And now I've got most all the roots taken off that I want to take off. But like I've been saying, this is one of the trees where we're having an issue with the black slime mold. So this is our mix of the Dawn dish soap and water, 40 parts water, 1 part Dawn dish soap, a little bit of baking soda thrown in there to try to deal with the black slime mold, and I believe it's been working. But for now we're going to give it a good scrub and get these roots nice and clean. Will also help to get some more of the original soil out of there, as well as if there's any of the black slime mold left. Hopefully this is going to break it up, scrape it off. I'm going to go in the back here for a bit. I'm going to take this to the bathtub, give it a good rinse, and clean up my mat, and I'll be back with you in a few minutes. We're back with our tree. We've rinsed out the roots from the soap and water and as much of the soil that we can get out. We can get a little bit better look at a few of these, and we'll try and clean up a few of these stubs a little bit here. Don't really plan on removing too much more roots. I've already removed quite a few. And that was just another big one that came to nothing. But it had a few other little small pieces coming from it back there. Alright, here's my front. And we do have a few really long roots. We'll give it a little bit of a trim too. Just to put it back in our pot. And like I said, I do intend on tying it in this time. And I've got a bunch of scrap wire pieces here. Again, I'm using the Akadama pumice and lava mix. Careful, don't make a mess. a little bit in there. Oh. Make sure we get the tree straight in the pot. Get all the roots in there and tucked in. I don't mind having the tree more to the center of the pot. So I'm liking where it's sitting right there. So I'll add in a little bit more soil. I'm going to use the other end of my chopstick here, and I'll actually get me a clean one, since again that one was using with the old dirty soil, just in case. Alright, so let's go ahead and tighten our wires down a little bit. Down. That actually looks pretty good right there to where it's sitting. How does it look to you? Oh, you know what? When I had to change the battery and all this, I forgot to zoom back in. Be a little bit more careful here now. I think that's going to be just right there. And get this all combined in there really good. Make sure there's no holes up underneath the roots any. Oh, there might have been a little hole there. I don't know if you could see it, but that filled in a tiny bit there. This would actually be a little bit easier on the turntable. There wasn't a lot of roots in the back, so we can make sure we get packed up in there really well. And I think that's going to do it. Got it packed in, got some nice new soil in there, some new Akadama pumice and lava mix. So we'll start back with a view of the front. Back to the right side as you're looking at it, the back, the left side as you'd be looking at it, and back to our front. Thank you for watching. I'm going to take this outside, give it a good water, put it in the greenhouse, and keep it protected for the rest of the winter. Thank you for watching. I hope you'll like and subscribe. Here's a picture after I took the tree outside, gave it some water, and added some moss to the edge of the pot.